What's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. If you want to text us, you can do so hitting up the Ticket King text line at 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay here to talk Packers Lions, as we've got a few more sections of news, I guess you could say, breaking here, coming down the pike as we're getting closer to game day. We may even dive into a little film this morning. I don't know. We'll see what the chat wants to do here. But hopefully everybody's having an awesome morning. Let's do this and give a quick shout out to the good folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since 92, specializing in Packers tickets. They're Wisconsin's largest ticket source with offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Click on the link in the video description to send you their website, theticketking.com. You can register there for free as a customer and go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Tim, we got about 3 inches of snow on the ground outside this door right here. It's still coming down, man. I'm in hog heaven down here in the South, man.
And we got nothing up here in Titletown. Nothing but some cold air. That's about it.
I was looking at what background should we use today, and I said, it's cold and cloudy. That's good enough. We'll throw some snow on it. So,
love it.
There you go. Hopefully everybody's doing well here in the chat. I see everybody filing in. We got Nick McSwain, Andres, Joyce, Martha. Everybody sit up straight. Miss Joyce is in the chat. Holmes, MD1, Mike Berry, Harry Cheese. We got Dane Stromstad. Prince is in the house. Everybody filing in. Daryl, good to see you, buddy. All right, let's get this party started. Nick McSwain starts it off with a chat here as he says, good morning, PTA. Really excited for Thursday. If Elton can't go, who do y'all think will fill in for him? Think we'll see Monk? ? If everybody else is healthy, that's a good question, really. Let's play devil's advocate. Listen, I think Elton's going to play. But let's say Elton doesn't play. Obviously, Jordan Morgan's still hurt. I imagine you would have Sean Ryan at right guard. Who would play left guard, Tim? I think it's a good question, man. I think you probably would see Jacob Monk because he's been on the 53 all year long, right?
Yeah, and I mean, who else, right? I can't think of who else. You would want to say probably Jordan Morgan, but given that he's out. I think that's your look. Now, here's my point. I'm with you. I think Elton's going to play. I don't think he's going to miss this game. But how much, right? If he's dealing with that knee and it flares up or it's an issue, you got to have him ready to go. So, Jacob Monk might be our guy.
Yeah, let's see what the official depth chart shows here. I say official. It's on ESPN. I do feel like ESPN's is more accurate than what the Packers put out. I think the Packers send a few smoke screens. As Matt LaFleur said, when the initial depth chart was released this year and they asked him about it, he said, I haven't even looked at it. So it's like, okay, that's not really the official depth chart, obviously. But what they've got listed here as far as offensive linemen, obviously starting offensive line from left to right, Rasheed Walker, Elton Jenkins, Josh Myers, Sean Ryan, then Zach Tom. And then as backups at left tackle, Andre Dillard, at left guard, Sean Ryan, at center, Elton Jenkins, at right guard, Jordan Morgan, who's on IR, and at right tackle, Kadeem Telford. Then after that, it looks like as far as the interior offensive line on the active 53 right now, the only person left is Jacob Monk, so we might get to see Jacob Monk. Tim, how cool would it be first of all, it wouldn't be cool if Elton didn't play. But let's say Elton, hey, look, man, you're going to take the week off. You're just a little too banged up. How cool would it be to see Jacob Monk? Some people believe he's the center of the future. What if he stepped right in and just started smacking people in the mouth? That'd be awesome, dude.
That would be incredible. I would love to see it. I really would. I mean, I guess missing Elton, my question would be how much does that shuffle up the O-line, right? And then going into a tough game against the Lions, although they're banged up right now. So you never know. Maybe it's the time. And you got to find out these guys can play, at some point, right?
Yeah. And we don't like to dig too deep into these topics because Elton's probably going to play and we just wasted, 5-10 minutes. But if a listener wants to hit on it, we'll hit on it. You know what I mean? He also said that penalty Elton got in the Dolphins game, got me fired up. I was mad at first till the replay showed he was mauling the dude. LOL. I'm with you, man. And listen, I said what I said on Twitter about that video of number 41, who's no longer on the Lions roster, but still a Detroit Lion trying to alligator roll Jordan Love's legs. Funny too, all the Lions fans, he's not alligator rolling. Okay. The dude grabs his ankle, Jordan is trying to get away from him, right? The play, first of all, you see
the play is over.
you see the defender look downfield at the ball where it's going, right? He's looking downfield at the ball, and then he goes back, and Jordan's trying to pull. He's on the ground, and he's trying to pull his ankle out, and no dude goes and leans into it and rolls over on his ankle. So I see that, Tim. And listen, I know winning the game is the most important thing. I got you. But if we send a goon out there and just smack somebody in the damn mouth, I'll be like, hey, you did your service, and go to the locker room, enjoy the game from the locker room, and we'll take the 15 yards just to prove a point. We're not going to.
It should be the first play from scrimmage.
Yes,
set the tone right away.
Absolutely.
And I'm not a fan of dirty football. Nobody's saying play dirty football like we're talking about the Lions did that day. We're saying play hard and set the tone and let them know that we're not going to be pushed around, and we're going to protect our quarterback for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. Prince in the chat says, I thought Jenkins was just veteran rest. Monk has been inactive the last 2 games in favor of the Road Graders, Telford and Glover. Yeah, so Jenkins is typically a veteran rest, right? But this week they specifically mentioned the knee on the injury report. We kind of hit on that. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So there you go. Let's see here. Prince also mentioned Marshawn Lloyd can rejoin practice after the Seahawks game. So that's coming down the pike as well. So, all right, again, just wanted to hit on that since it was mentioned in the chat. Now, let's shift gears and talk about what we uncovered this morning. As a matter of fact, I was going to hit a bunch of different statistics, but let's get right to it first since we were kind of talking injuries. We'll skip past this stuff. And I wanted to point out what we uncovered this morning on ESPN.com. It may be kind of hard for you guys to see. Hopefully you can see it well enough there. I'm not going to zoom in or to make everything pretty wonky here, as Matt LaFleur would say.
Wonky.
So, according to ESPN, Detroit Lions left tackle Taylor Decker is listed as out and will miss Thursday night's matchup against the Packers. Now, you guys know if you were tuned in last night on the show, we were looking at the injury report, and Taylor Decker, officially on the injury report, knee injury, did not participate. There was still no status to the far right in that far right column for game status. So, this morning, I go to ESPN like, all right, let's take a look at their injuries. You see Carlton Davis, cornerback, he's listed as out, and Taylor Decker did not practice Monday. Tim Twentyman of the Lions official site reports, and it also says status out. So I don't know. This could be a mistake by ESPN. It could have gotten leaked out by ESPN. They
could be Detroit setting up smoke signals a little bit, maybe, you know.
Typically, though, it's got to be on the official report, right, for it to be kind of official. The fact that it's not listed on the official injury report makes me a little hesitant, but I did want to put out there ESPN did list him as out. So if he is out, that's going to be I think that's going to be huge for the Packers because, again, this Detroit Lions offense is potent, guys. They're a top 3 offense, a legit top 3 offense, and we'll talk about some of the metrics here in a second. But, Tim, it would be huge if they didn't have Taylor Decker a second week in a row because this is not the Chicago Bears coming to town.
Yeah, that's very true. And most of their injuries are on the defensive side of the ball. We talked about that yesterday. So this is a big piece that they'd be missing here on their O-line, which means, I wonder if I don't think it changes the game plan that Hafley's putting together, but it's certainly tempting to dial up a little more pressure from that side. And we've got some youth and some talent over there too, and some fast guys, aggressive guys. So, we're going to have to see how Detroit, deals with their own injuries there on the O-line as we talk about our issues on ours. So I think this is what football in December is all about, though. You got teams bang the hell up trying to chase down a Lombardi trophy, and it's next man up. That's the rule. That's the old cliche, and it's never been more true than right now for both of these teams. So either way, we're in for a hell of a game on Thursday.
Yeah, for sure. Ron Samuel in the chat says, hasn't Jenkins been listed as vet rest / knee in the past? I'm sure he has in the past. It's just, according to some of the beat reporters, last week and maybe the week before, it was just veteran rest. And now all of a sudden the knee pops back up on the injury report. That's why we were a little bit like, okay, how serious is it? Again, if you're making me bet money on it, I'm saying Elton Jenkins is going to be out there playing. I didn't see at any point in that game where I felt like, yeah, Elton can't go, right? If anything, he was out there proving a point, bullying those Miami kids. That's for sure. I say kids, they're the oldest team in the league, but they were out there. He was just out there playing bully ball, man. You love to see it. So
yes, sir.
Let's see what Prince says here, Jordan Morgan can't rejoin practice until after this Lions game at the earliest. I didn't hear of any surgery or other reason he would not return this year. Same. I'm expecting him back fairly soon too, Prince. Now, the one that did have surgery was obviously Musgrave, and that's why we're thinking probably going to be 17 or 18 before we get a chance at getting 88 back, because he did end up having to have surgery on the ankle, right, Tim? I'm thinking right. It was an ankle for.
I think it was.
Yeah.
So
it feels like it was
don't
2
quote me
seasons.
on that. I think it was. It wasn't a knee. It was an ankle, right?
Yeah. It feels like it was 2 seasons ago now, man. So
exactly, and that's because of the way that Fitzpatrick and Ben Sims have really kind of stepped up for us in that tight end room, and then obviously you got Tuck Norris out there, household name, making noise in the NFL. So the tight end room is good, and I think that puts Musgrave in a situation where we don't need to rush him back, and he can focus on that rehab, come back 100%, and try and work his way back into that lineup, and back up the depth chart.
Got it. Reef in the chat says, I feel we are too young of a team to understand the strategy. No dirty play. I strongly disagree, Reef. I'll just leave it at that. I'm telling you, man, for me, it's always an eye for an eye. That's when I played sports a long time ago, that's the way it was too, man. You protect each other. I
remember how that was in baseball, right?
Oh,
you throw at our guy, we're throwing at your guy next inning.
We took it a step. I took it a step further. It was, listen, if I'm not still in second and it's a ground ball in the infield, I'm going in spikes up. I'm looking to draw blood, handful of dirt occasionally, hit them in the face with some dirt, whatever you got to do to get an advantage, get in their head. If they square around the bunt, that target goes from the mitt right up to the ear hole every single time. And again, we can disagree on it. It's cool. Again, this is why I am not the best person in the world when it comes to competitive sports. All it takes is one time for that opposing team to do something like they tried to do to Jordan Love's ankle that I go, okay, guys, listen. And I'm not saying Jordan should be in there going, guys, you see what he did to me? But this O-line and this defense, Tucker already kind of said it. He said the quiet part out loud, right? Tucker was like, hey, we know Kirby Joseph's a dirty player too, right? I think you get together and go, listen, boys, we might get a penalty or two, but we are not going to be pushed around on this football field. Period. Case closed. They think they're going to come out here and bully us. It ain't going to happen. So they may beat us by 20 points, but they're not going to come away going, yeah, boy, they're soft. That can't happen. That cannot happen. So that's just me. I'm weird, I guess. But let's see here real quick. There you go, Nick McSwain. I wouldn't be mad if someone laid out Joseph. LOL. Like I said, I want to see Tucker Kraft on a Y screen. And it'd be Kirby Joseph and him staring each other down. That's what I want to see. I want to see Tuck run right through his face for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's go back a touch. Let me drop this down, make sure we get to the right thing. And let's kind of walk through some of the key metrics for this game as we get closer to game day here. I was on PFF just kind of looking around and sent a couple tweets out just to kind of give everybody an idea of what to expect here. So I said Packers versus Lions will feature two of the NFL's best play callers in Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur. Their style of play is almost identical in terms of personnel and run-to-pass ratio. The Packers at 9-3 have the 14th toughest schedule, according to PFF. The Lions at 11-1 have had one of the easiest at 27th. Okay, so strength of schedule, obviously, Detroit at 27th, Green Bay at 14th. Green Bay on the cusp of being top 10, their toughest schedule played. And then average offensive snaps, it is neck and neck. Detroit has averaged 66.8 offensive snaps a game. The Packers are at 66.1. Percentage of run plays, the Packers are at 47.3%. The Lions are at 48.8%. So just a little over a percent difference. Again, I know you guys know the numbers, but the difference in that is if you ran 100 plays, right, the Lions would run the ball one more time than the Packers would. Okay, so really, really close there. Percentage of pass plays, the Packers are at 52.7%. The Lions are at 51.2%. EPA per run, the Lions, there's no question about it, have been more effective from a player's standpoint in the running game. Okay, at 0.07 EPA per run, the Packers are at minus 0.05. And then EPA per pass, the Packers are at 0.16. The Lions are at 0.23. So the moral of the story is, the Lions have had a more efficient offense, no question about it, right? Granted, they're going to be without their starting left tackle in this game. They're also going to be playing with a banged-up defense that you would think, okay, if the Packers can move the ball in that offense and you get them down early, they're not going to be able to press into that run maybe the way they want to, although they still are passing the ball slightly more than they're running it at 51.2%. So, Tim, what do you think about those numbers? Anything you want to add or anything that sticks out to you there, man?
Yeah, that looks pretty evenly matched, right? Looks
Really
pretty
does.
close. This is what we talk about, where teams are not, necessarily a reflection of their records. We talked about Detroit. They're 11-1, whatever. Who have they really beaten this year? Other than us, obviously, we gotta even up the score here. But again, I think we're in for a treat. You look at the metrics here, man. These teams are evenly matched. I do believe that the Packers are going to continue to have to run the football to find success, especially against a team like the Lions, banged up or not. They're at home. They're going to be tuned up, divisional matchup. We got to feed Josh Jacobs the ball and Emmanuel Wilson the ball, and we need to get that RPO game going. We need to get that play action game going off of the run, and that's going to be our key to success on offense. Hopefully we see a lot of running on first down like we have been the past couple of weeks. And, we don't get too pass happy there on those first downs. Take your shots when you can, but play good disciplined ball, and we should have a chance to beat this team. I mean, this is as close as it gets right here, looking at these metrics.
Yeah. And again, it's going to be like the first game. And if we have time, we may dive into a little bit of the chalk talk we did there at week 9, after week 9, when we played the Lions at Lambeau in the rain. Everything completely shifted after that pick 6 with less than a minute left in the second quarter, and you have to completely change your game plan. You look up and it's like 24-3 now. The Packers battled back, obviously, and I know the old saying, the Darius Butler saying, "If ifs were fifths, we'd all be drunk," right? Yep. But that's the reality of how that game flowed. Was that pick 6 before halftime being a little too aggressive there in the middle 8 really allowed Detroit to capture that momentum. That's a prime perfect example of what the middle 8 is. And I understand some people probably hear that and they roll their eyes and think the middle 8 doesn't matter. Bill Belichick's the one who kind of coined the phrase like, hey, you really need to control that middle 8 to control the momentum. And those are the same people that will look at the way the Packers approach that with less than a minute left. They're the same people that are always saying, man, you need to put the throttle down. You need to go. You need to go. You just, you need to be aggressive. I don't like that kneeling before halftime until something like that happens. And then they go quiet. Like that is the downside to it. Right. And again, I'm not saying that you don't, after that first play where they get to like the 38-yard line or the 40-yard line of their own 40-yard line, okay, less than a minute, you're in striking distance now, right? It's just the next play call is like, why are we not spreading things out type thing, right? And, of course, with Love, he should have thrown it away. So there's plenty of blame to go around. You don't like the set, the play call. You also don't like the decision-making in that situation. It's piss pouring in the rain. Like there's a lot of everything that could have gone wrong in that specific situation went wrong. So much different up there in the dome. And Tim, the reality, too, is that the Packers played pretty good football under Jordan Love in domes too, right? You go back to last year with New Year's Eve. You go back to last year with Thanksgiving Day game in Detroit. He seems to play pretty well on that track inside.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember that Thanksgiving game very well last year. And good old Tupac LaFleur was ready to roll. We came out swinging right away with a shot play to Christian Watson to start that game. And I truly believe that game was over from that moment right on. The momentum was with us, just sucked the life out of Ford Field. And hopefully we do something similar, this week. I'm going to lean with putting our defense out there. I think I would defer if we win the toss, get that ball in the second half, just as an insurance policy, and, put our defense out there. And, my concern is getting our defense rolling early, because we know how explosive this Detroit Lions offense can be. And I want to put them behind the 8 ball. I want to 3-and-out them to start this game and put Jordan and the boys out there and get some points on the board. So I think we just got to bring that intensity. And, we're going to leave with the dub. I'm convinced we're getting this dub on Thursday.
Nick McSwain says Packers were really injured on Thanksgiving last year versus the Lions, right? I can't remember, Nick. The only thing I remember about that Thanksgiving game was Rashawn Gary absolutely dominated with 3 sacks, and Jordan Love went off. Him and Christian Watson went absolutely off. I remember that specifically about that game. And again, it's a perfect example of if you jump up early on Jared Goff, and force him into passing situations, you can let your pass rush tee off. He's not as much a scrambling threat as like, it's funny too, Sam Darnold. People were saying that about Sam Darnold when we played the Vikings. Well, we ain't got to worry about him scrambling, so now we can finally rush the quarterback. Like, bro, he's a lot better at scrambling than you think he is. You go and watch this week's game and what Sam Darnold did with his legs. There was 2 or 3 occasions where he picked up a first down with his legs. He can move. Jared Goff, you don't see it happen very often, right? So, again, I'm not saying that you pin your ears back and play play recklessly, because they will gash you with that 3rd and long run that they tend to lean on when they need to. They're willing to go for it on 4th down too. So you got to kind of play within the parameters of, all right, let's don't let this game get away from us. But at the same time, man, the thing that sticks out to me about that Thanksgiving Day game last year, Tim, was Rashawn Gary just getting after the quarterback, man.
I remember that. You know what I remember vividly as well from that game is that inexplicable laser beam missile rocket dart ball that Jordan threw to Jaden Reed for a touchdown. I don't know if you guys remember that little slant. And there was some debate about, was he targeting Christian Watson on the crosser? Who was that ball supposed to go to? But it almost looks fake. It almost looks like CGI that ball even got home and that Jaden Reed held on to it. That was one of the most incredible throws I think we've seen from Jordan Love. And that one is burned in my memory forever, for sure. Yeah. But, yeah, you can't forget about Rashawn, though. Rashawn was teeing off, too. We got to see that.
Yeah. That was tosser F flat. I remember it like it was yesterday. Tosser is a concept where it's a double slant, and then you got the F inside that's going to run a flat. And really what it is you go to the flat quick, or you let him clear and go to the slant, right? You're trying to create – it's almost like a mesh play where, with mesh, those shallow crosses, you're trying to get those defenders to hit each other, where you're doing it in a much tighter quarters, right, where you've got 2 receivers and then a third. Those 2 run tosser, that double slant concept, and then the F flat, and you're trying to get those guys to connect. The difference is, and why Aaron said, I don't know if Christian ran a right route there, because the reason it looked that way is because Jordan said, I'm not going to wait for the F to clear. I'm just going to fire this missile in between everybody. He did. So I love how it just stuck in Jaden Reed's chest.
Yeah. Like, how did Jaden Reed catch a football that there's no way he saw? There's no way he saw that football. It just ended up in his chest,
He stuck it in his sternum. That's how it happened. Love it. All right, so next thing up, let's talk about the quarterbacks. I tweeted out Packers versus Lions will feature 2 of the league's best quarterbacks, Jared Goff and Jordan Love. According to PFF, Love has a slightly higher power ranking at 10th, with Goff at 12. Jared Goff has played more efficient, while Jordan Love has had significantly more big-time throws at 3.44%. So essentially what you've got here for everybody on the podcast, the PFF grade, Jared Goff is grading out at a 76.6. Jordan Love is grading out at a 74.3. Now, passer rating with a clean pocket, when kept clean, Jared Goff is as good as anybody in the league, sitting at a 120.6 passer rating in a clean pocket. Jordan Love, 105.1. Passer rating under pressure, Jared Goff is slightly better at a 77.3. Jordan Love is sitting at a 73.1. Big time throw percentage, though, Jordan Love, 3.44%. Jared Goff only at 2.59%. Again, take all this into consideration, run it through the filter of they might be without their starting left tackle, and you can kind of see how it could play a huge role. Now, power rating, Jordan Love is sitting at a 4.0. Jared Goff is at a 3.5. That would put Jordan Love ranked 10th in the league with power rating rank, and Jared Goff 12th there. Okay, so that's how the quarterback comparison kind of stacks up. Essentially what you got, Tim, Jared Goff has played much cleaner football this year. That's no surprise. In my opinion, I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league this year. But Jordan Love's kind of got that big-time throw play, right? Like he can, at any point, he can throw it. He can throw it, I don't mean to laugh, 55 yards down the field in triple coverage and Jaden Reed hauling in, right?
F it, Reed down there somewhere.
Exactly. What do you think about the quarterback matchup here, man? Jordan's definitely playing the best ball he's played all year at this current moment. And Jared Goff kind of feels like he's cooling off a little bit, but what do you think about the numbers there? Anything stick out to you?
Yeah, I think we talked about this yesterday a little bit, the passer rating under pressure. Jared Goff obviously having the edge there a little bit. It's all about how you're pressuring Goff, I think, because like you mentioned before, he's not really a dude that's gonna, step up and through and out of the pocket and start running on you. But he is a guy that knows how to extend a play, and he will step up and through the pocket to clear space to make a throw. So I think if we're disciplined with our pass rush, we're selective about when we're dialing up that fifth man or that sixth man on a pressure. And you just don't want to get predictable, because that's what's going to give a guy like Jared Goff an advantage. He's a veteran quarterback. He understands blitz packages. He understands how to pick things up before they happen. So I think if Hafley's got a good game plan, I think we should be all right. But I prefer to see Jared Goff, in the well with a collapsing pocket and making him have to get the ball out a little quicker than he wants to. You want to fluster a guy like that as best as you can, because thinking you're just going to tee off and blitz him all day, he's gonna eat you up alive. So, but again, I think looking at the QB comparisons, man, pretty evenly matched. If we give Jay Money a clean pocket, which should be a little bit easier to do against a banged up Lions defense, I think we have a chance to. This could potentially be a shootout type of game. We could see score for score, back and forth, or we could see two defenses that grit through it, and we could see a relatively low scoring game. But that's why we don't do the predictions. I just care about getting out with a dub. So the quarterback matchup, man, it is, you got a pretty close matchup between these two guys here, and I just hope Jordan gets the best of them.
Yeah. Nick McSwain in the chat. Love has been better the last 2 to 3 weeks versus pressure. I agree with that. It seems like he's starting to settle in a little bit. Dave MX6, good to see you in here, buddy. What's up? Hope you're having a great morning. Ron Sample in the chat. Need to cover the middle crossers when you rush Goff. Amen. And here's the other thing I noticed on tape, and if we get time, we'll show that clip either this morning or later on tonight on PTA Live. But on one of the things they like to do, especially with Amon-Ra St. Brown, is they like to run a sprint right throwback, okay? And it's kind of a pro route from Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm pretty sure he's the only one I've seen do it. There may be some others too. I may be getting the names mixed up, but imagine a sprint right option is, that's West Coast, one of the first plays in the playbook in a West Coast offense, right? Quarterback takes the ball, moving pocket, he sprints right, and you've got an option to run if you need to, but typically it's a high-low read with some kind of crosser or a corner and then an underneath route, and sometimes they'll wrinkle in a little spot play underneath. Well, the way they use the sprint right throwback, it sets up like sprint right option, so you're sprinting to the right, and that guy's coming on a crosser, and then he stops and runs a pro route, almost like a corner route. And literally, Jared Goff, sprint right option, sets his feet, throws it back across the grain, and you've got all the momentum on that play. I want to say it was an explosive play they hit against the Bears on Thanksgiving. Again, we'll try to take the time to
not on us. They're not hitting on that with us. That's a Xavier McKinney pick waiting to happen right there.
I'll tell you, it's on tape now. It's on tape. Yeah. So, and here's the other thing: it's on tape, and I guarantee you, as they're watching tape, Matt LaFleur goes, let's add that little wrinkle into our playbook, because I'm telling you, man, it's a copycat league. So don't be surprised if you see the Packers break out a little sprint right throwback too, for sure. So there you go. Tupac LaFleur knows what we're talking about in here.
I just hope we don't get too cute. Don't get too cute. Not against this Lions team.
Just run the rock, man. Come out and run the rock and play your game. The jet sweep, that's the stuff that I worry about down there inside the 5 and the 10-yard line. Let's don't get too crazy with that, for sure.
And be prepared on the defensive side of the ball for that kind of crap from the Lions. I say this every time we play them. They will run some kind of trickery out there at some point in the game. That could be, faking a punt. That could be, double reverse. That could be, they're gonna try and sneak one of those in on us. I fully believe it, especially being at home in the dome. I think they're gonna try and catch us off guard. So we got to stay on alert on defense for sure.
Yeah, there ain't no doubt about that, man. So for you gambling degenerates out there, all right, I know I'm preaching to the choir. I love putting a little action on the game, no doubt about it. All right. I tweeted out the 2024 Packers are currently 6-6 against the spread. Vegas have absolutely nailed handicapping Green Bay games this year. So what we mean by that at 6-6, you want everything from a gambling business to be kind of split 50-50 down the middle, right? You want to try to make it as appealing as possible for someone to want to put action 1 second on this team and then the next second on that team. You don't want the money to be too lopsided, right? The Packers are basically 6-6 against the spread. Just to give you guys an idea of how the spread looked this year, I'm not going to read off all of the statistics. I just want to tell you guys when we were favored, when we were not. Okay, so Philadelphia Eagles, week 1, we were underdogs by 1.5 points. Week 2, we were underdogs by 2.5 points to the Colts. Week 3, we were underdogs to the Titans at +3. Okay, so 3 points there. Minnesota Vikings, week 4, we were 2.5 point favorites. Week 5, we were 3 point favorites over the Rams. Week 6 with the Cardinals, we were 5.5 point favorites. Week 7 versus the Texans, we were 3 point favorites. Week 8 versus the Jaguars, we were 3.5 point favorites. Week 9 against the Lions, the first time we met, we were 2.5 point underdogs. This time the line was set at 3.5. We'll see if it's changed any up to this point. Week 11, we were 6 point favorites over the Bears. Week 12, we were 6.5 point favorites over the Niners. Week 13, we were 3.5 point favorites over the Dolphins. Okay, and again, as I grabbed the screen grab, we were 3.5 point underdogs to the Lions. So you take all that into consideration when you're betting against the spread, whether you're taking the points or laying the points. The Packers were 6-6 with the spread this year. Vegas, Tim, they just continue to crush it, man.
Yeah, that's why it's interesting. And I'm not a sports bettor. That's no secret. Anybody who's followed the show knows I'm not a big sports bettor. But it's important to look at some of the metrics because these people, with all due respect, they do it for a living. So those people are gonna, you got to consider the metrics when you're looking at these matchups, and it gives you more information as a fan to kind of see how things are lining up every week for sure.
You're an amazing person. You know that, don't you?
You had to squeak that in there, didn't you, Tim? I love it. Randy Cleaver's in the chat. Same story, pressure with 4 and stop the run. If we can do that, we win. Hey, amen, Randy. Preach, brother.
Yeah, our guys better wake up with their piss hot, like I said before. So.
That's really all it comes down to, man, is protecting the football. Look, let's stop the run, make them play from behind. I know it's easier said than done, obviously. They're a hell of a football team. And listen, you got to tip your cap to Dan Campbell. This team, it's more and more banged up every single week, and he just finds a way to win. Now, I know that Bears win wasn't pretty. Some would say the Bears lost it rather than the Lions winning it. But it wasn't pretty when we beat the Bears either. So, we forget about that stuff from time to time.
Yeah. And the funny thing about pretty wins and ugly wins is they're still wins. And that's all we're trying to get, right? It's all any team's trying to accomplish is a win. A 1 point win is the same thing as a 41 point win.
Yeah, that's what always cracks me up about the fan base, that they're never happy with the win. It's like, okay, would you rather lose to a team by 1 point or beat a team by 1 point or lose to them by 2 touchdowns? I'm confused here. It seems like when you win a close game, we're not happy with it. Like, and again, the spread should tell you, like, if anything, as fans, what we should get better at is being realistic about, hey, who are the team that we playing this week, right? Who do we have on the schedule this week? And what is the point spread? Like, it's mind-boggling to me that we'll be a 2.5 point underdog and we beat that team by 12 points and they're like, oh, we played like crap. I'm like, what are we expecting here? So put things into perspective, man. And again, the line isn't everything. They're going to miss, and they're going to miss big from time to time, right? But it's another tool we can use to just, again, I'm of the opinion, and I know I'm in the minority here, the worst team in the league is this close to the best team in the league. That's just my opinion. And yes, momentum is real, and things can happen throughout the course of a game that the score gets completely out of control. But that's kind of how I see it. So the next thing here, injured reserve, just a quick refresher. What players are on injured reserve for the Detroit Lions? I said the Detroit Lions are looking to keep their winning streak alive in spite of 8 players being placed on injured reserve since their previous matchup with the Packers. Can't say enough about how Dan Campbell continually finds a way to win. So the players that have gone on the IR since the Packers played the Lions there in Week 9 is Mekhi Wingo, defensive tackle, Malcolm Rodriguez, linebacker, Khalif Raymond, wide receiver, Ennis Rakestraw Jr., rookie cornerback, the Melafanu, I think is how you say the name, safety, He's on injured reserve now. Alex Anzalone, one of their best defensive players at linebacker, he went on injured reserve in, I think it was November 18th. Derek Barnes, linebacker, November 13th. And then, of course, Jalen Reeves-Maben, linebacker, November 9th. Now, notice we're not showing Aiden Hutchinson there, right? We cut it off at Aiden Hutchinson because Aiden Hutchinson missed the previous game with the Packers. So this is what's changed since they last played. They're banged up on defense. There's no two ways about it. That offense is still going to be wide open and good. If you can shut down Jahmyr Gibbs somehow, some way, and Tim, listen, I feel like if you can shut down Christian McCaffrey, you can shut down Jahmyr Gibbs, right? And I know Christian is like 100% this year, but you seen before he got hurt in Buffalo, he was looking like the old Christian McCaffrey again. So again, I think this defense is banged up. Press into it, lean into it. The other thing, and I'll turn it over to you, Tim, it's not just they're missing a lot of good players. Think of the depth now. When a guy needs a breather or somebody breaks a shoelace, you're now going to a third stringer coming in to play a significant snap as opposed to just a backup. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I just there's things that make me nervous about this matchup, and then there's things that make me extremely confident about this matchup. And I really believe it's going to come down to what our approach is defensively. I really do. I think we're going to put points on the board. I'm not worried about Jay Money in this offense. I am worried about, a little bit about Detroit in this offense. And I think you're right. We've got to key in on stopping that run. Jahmyr Gibbs is the type of guy that has the potential to, really screw up a game flow for you if you're not accounting for that run. And then, of course, if you sell out to the run, they can get explosive in the pass game too. So defensively, we got to be on our P's and Q's all day long. And that's why I said hopefully we do get Jair back. The more depth we have out there at all levels of that defense, the better going up against this tough Lions team for sure.
Yeah. Cheesehead Murph in the chat, Tim, says, good morning. I think you know what he's asking for.
Good morning.
Still got to get.
Did he say Murph? Is that what he said? Murph.
He did say Murph. I still got to get me one of those dinosaur shirts, man. That thing is fire.
Ask Emilio. He's got a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, he's got a couple stuffed animal dinosaurs under his race car bed. Everything. Yeah. I just imagine toys laying around the bedroom everywhere. You know what I mean? Just little action figures and everything. So Nate McSwain in the chat says Packers allowed 83 yards rushing total past 2 games. There you go, baby. There you go.
We got to keep it up.
Got to. And again, Ben Johnson is going to look at those last 2 games, Nick, and they're going to, okay, here's how they stop the run. We can counter it by doing this, right, in the run game. So that's why I put that tweet out earlier, man. This is going to be a hell of a matchup between 2 of the best offensive minds, best play callers in the entire National Football League, man. I think this might be the last year Ben Johnson's in Detroit. Somebody is going to go make that guy a very wealthy man where it's going to be an offer he cannot refuse. I think that'll happen. And honestly, whoever gets him, it checks all the boxes for me. It's a great young mind, an offensive mind, and one that's really ahead of the curve on what you're trying to accomplish offensively in the league. Whoever hires him as a coach, I don't like defensive head coaches. I've been very vocal about that. Ben Johnson kind of checks the box there for me. So whoever gets him next year, going to be a hell of a team. I don't doubt that one bit. This might be the last hurrah for that coaching staff. And I know last year we thought Ben Johnson was going to get a head coaching job. I think he got offers. He decided to stay in Detroit. And I think that the team, like I said, will break the bank to make sure they get him this year. So we'll see, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love the offseason too, man. The coaching carousel and everything's awesome. So that's pretty much it. On Twitter, we're all caught up. Since we got a few minutes here, let me show you guys, if I can find this play, let me show you guys what I was talking about with the sprint right throwback. I think I've got it right here. Yeah.
Find it. Nice.
Oh, yeah. Well, good. And NFL Pro is awesome, dude. If you know what you're looking for, NFL Pro is awesome. So this is in the Chicago game. All right. This is the end zone cam. Actually, let's see if we can trigger it all. Let's go sideline 2 here. So this play came 4:49 left. I'm trying to see what quarter it was. First quarter, 4:49 left, a 3rd and 2 play. So keep that in mind, guys. The other thing too, we talked about they like to run on 3rd down. right? Like it can be 3rd and 8 and they're not scared to run the football. On 3rd and short, they're not scared to play action or just pass in general because they're willing to go for it on 4th down more times than not. This is at the 47, so keep in mind they're at midfield here roughly. Unless I've got the wrong video, that don't look like the right video. It may have reset. Let me go one ahead of it, and then we'll come back to it here. This should reset it. All right, let's see. Nope. What is going on here? Why is it not for 29 yards? It says at Detroit 47. I think the video may be screwed up. We may have to let this play through to the next play. Sometimes it gets a little wonky. Let me try to do this. Let's see if this is the sprint right, because what they did was they came out in a dub nasty set. They shifted over to Trey Wright, and they're still in a nasty split, everybody inside the numbers. You'll notice they canned everybody touch their hat. Now watch this. Yep, see sprint right. Okay, now the way this works is sprint right, you got kind of a moving protector here, okay? And what you typically do is you've got a crosser, and you see the mid-crosser mesh here, right? And sometimes what they'll do is that cross-country. They'll kind of it's a crosser and turn it into a corner route, but in this case, watch Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to run a crosser, and then he's going to cut back on a pro route, okay? And this is what we call sprint right throwback. Bang, foot in the ground. Look at all the space out here, Tim. Safety already flipped his hips, right? All that space out here.
Even with Chicago having an advantage with the hat count over there too.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, look when he breaks, if you go back a few frames, before he breaks into that route right here, I mean, it's 2-on-1.
Yep, right.
And then he breaks into his route. You still have help over the top. I mean, this concept, I mean, it can be deadly. It can gash you, even if you're quote unquote prepared for it.
Yeah, right. And again, the whole idea is up front, you're showing sprint right option. But on the backside, you're basically throwing a mesh with a high-low read to the opposite side from where you're sprinting, right?
Yep.
And he's going to just pull up, set his feet, and look at all that space. Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's an explosive. As you guys know, you hit on an explosive play, it triples your chances of scoring on that drive. He over there talking trash on the Bears sideline. They looked excited for the first quarter, didn't they? That's Chicago Bears football, baby. Let's see it from this angle. So here you go. You go from dub nasty. You're going to shift over to Trey Wright, tap the hand. Everybody got the signal, right? So we canned out. My guess is when he shifted over and they seen the defense, they decided go from the from the run to the sprint right throwback is what it looks like to me. And then you see, watch the whole front, read it. Look at everybody flowing to the right. See everybody flowing to the right? And then, of course, this looks like a kid chasing another kid on the playground. Watch this guy right here chasing Amon-Ra St. Brown. Which way did he go? Oh, look who it is. It's Tariq Stevenson, Tim.
There's the guy.
It's the same guy that was talking trash to the Washington Commanders fans and gave up the Hail Mary. It's the same guy that Amon-Ra St. Brown smacked him in the mouth with the football last week. My man, he had a rough Thanksgiving. No doubt. He's had a rough year. But and again, not a great throw. If he hits Amon-Ra St. Brown in stride, he's probably up the sideline. He might have 6 here, but threw it behind him, right? So, again, that's the type of stuff you got to watch for Detroit to run. And just wanted to point that out. I'm glad we were able to pull it up real quick. And we'll get into more of that this evening on PTA Live. But that makes sense, though, Tim, how they're kind of – you show a sprint right option a couple of times throughout the year. Now that's on tape. All right, let's put a little throwback in it. And that's what I was going with, saying, all right, here's how the Packers have stopped the run the last couple of weeks. Ben Johnson's probably already setting up a counter to that. That makes sense.
Yep, absolutely. And it's like you said, it's on tape, right? So we know that that the boys on defense are looking at this. And we always talk about the X factor, right? Like Cam's saying right here, right? Recipe for an X interception. That guy is able to cover the entire football field on every play. I don't know how he does it. Doesn't matter if he's strong side or weak side. He's able to cover the ground. So I think that's true. If McKinney sniffs one of these out, and you see a ball like that from Goff, like you said, if it's a little bit off or something like that, and it's not hitting that receiver in stride, I think X is going up and getting that ball. Maybe even Quay Walker fading back or something in the middle, able to break that up or something. So we got to look for that for sure. But, you look at that play, it's contingent on that O-line doing their job. If you notice, there was just an absolute wall of protection for Jared Goff to be able to throw that ball across the field. And we'll see how they do it with, a backup tackle and, being banged up. So I don't know. We got to be ready for it. And like you said, that's a play where they canned out of it, that they were ready to run the ball there. So we have to be ready for them to can at any moment, which goes without saying. But Detroit, they are known for kind of the same things, like you said, that concepts that we run with Matt LaFleur, where we're able to throw out of passing sets and we're able to run out of passing sets and throw out of run sets. And you've got to be able to process that deception in real time. Otherwise, you're going to get eaten alive by the can play.
Yeah, for sure. Cam in the chat says recipe for an X interception. I love it, man. Again, that Chicago Bears secondary, I would take our safeties over their safeties any day, right? Xavier McKinney, arguably the best safety in the league right now. It's what a huge signing by Goody. I know we've said it 1,000 times this year, but it's so true. Rel in the chat said they tried to have Penei Sewell throw the ball, laughing emoji. Rel said you got to watch out for those trick plays. It's funny you mentioned that. We got it ready, Tim. You ready to see Penei Sewell, 390-pound? I'm exaggerating a little bit. 300-pound lineman trying to throw a football. Thick. He is thick, Coach Half. I'm hoping this will disappear off the screen when we hit play. But let's check this play out. This came first quarter, 10:02 left, 1st and 10 play at Chicago's 24-yard line. It says Jay Jones reported in as eligible. Penei Sewell sacked out of bounds at Chicago's 25 for a 1-yard loss. Let's see what we got here, fellas. Let's watch it. Cue up the circus music, by the way. So we got a condensed set. Let's play. Oh, look at this. It was even an end around. What the hell? For everybody on the pod, this is awesome. Go watch this play. Listen, I respect the effort here, but this is absolutely hilarious. So you got Penei Sewell lined up wide. All right. So I'm imagining this. One of these other guys had to report as eligible. So Penei Sewell is going to come around on kind of a jet sweep, like an end around. They're going to toss the play to him or toss the ball to him, and he's going to try to throw it here. This is hilarious. Look at this. Little flip. Look at the big boy. You kidding me, Tim? Look at this guy right here. Look like Jared Lorenzen from Kentucky, man. Rest in peace, Jared. J-Throw, as we called him, right? That dude. I remember going to a Kentucky game, Tim. It's off topic. But Jared Lorenzen was the quarterback, and he weighed over 300 pounds. All right, this is a true story. And they would play this game. You know how they do the games up on the big board, well, they'll do the cup. It might be like a Miller Lite can, and they'll put a ball under it, and they'll move it around, and this and that. All right, which one's it under? They put 5 bodies up on the screen, and they said 4 of these are offensive linemen, and 1 is Jared Lorenzen. And, bro, you could never get it right. There was a couple of times like, that's got to be Jared right there. And it's like, that was the fattest guy on the screen. And it ended up being, it was the quarterback, Jared Lorenzen. It's hilarious. You guys get a chance, top in Jared Lorenzen, Kentucky Wildcat highlights. You would not be disappointed, man. But again, Penei Sewell showing off that arm out here on the edge. Tim, what do you think about it, man?
I mean, I think he's got good downfield vision. It wasn't there. He didn't throw it. He didn't throw it into coverage. Looks pretty good for a big boy, moving pretty good. But yeah, certainly. I don't think we're going to fall for this at all. I really don't. I mean, if the Bears covered it as well as they did, I think we'll do just as good, if not better. Listen,
don't get me wrong. If Penei Sewell throws a touchdown pass there, I'm probably talking about it all week. But when it doesn't work, man, it looks disastrous, does it? It's just great. Again, the safeties, they bought it right here. They're like, no way are we giving this up. You kidding me? I like the stiff arm there, though. 57, poor guy never stood a chance.
And then you see it does. It's like impossible to tackle this guy. You got to account for that for sure. If anything, I'm more worried about the guy running the ball.
Yeah. And this is kind of one of those U58 bacon end around throw. I don't know what you would call this, man. I really don't. Like I said, circus. I call it 58 circus as well.
First quarter, man. 0-0 game, and this is the crap that they're running. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Yeah. This team is notorious for pulling plays like this out.
Yeah.
We can't get caught sleeping at all.
Yeah.
I mean, if Penei Sewell throws a touchdown pass, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to absolutely lose it.
You and I both, man. You and I both. So anyway, we just want to pop that up since you guys mentioned it there in the chat. Anything else you want to hit on, Tim, before we wrap up here, man?
No, just again, be ready for the chicanery, man. Be ready.
No doubt, man. Listen, it's going to be a fun game. It can't get here soon enough. I mean, we're still, what are we, a couple days away, all right? What is today? Tuesday? So we got a couple more sleeps until we get to game day. It's going to be a blast. I think it's going to be another great measuring stick to see where this Packers team is. We got a lot of momentum. Are we going to carry that momentum? Is this where the momentum, hits a speed bump and then we reset to make the playoff run? Time will tell. We'll be back tonight for PTA Live at 7 p.m. Central. What we're going to do if we have time, I'm sure we will, we're going to go back to the Chalk Talk from the earlier matchup that we had against the Lions in Week 9. And we're not going to do an entire Chalk Talk episode, but we're just going to put it on the screen and kind of talk about some of the plays that happened, some of the key plays. I can't remember exactly how many plays there were. I know I had it forwarded out here. As a matter of fact, I got it right here. There were 16 plays on this one.
There we go.
Yeah, so we had 16 plays. And like I said, it was pouring rain. Detroit won the turnover differential 1-0. They won the middle 8, 10-0. Keep in mind the pick 6 won them the turnover differential, and it gave them 7 of the 10 points in the middle 8. So, and then explosives were actually tied 5-5. So you remove that pick 6, good chance the Packers probably win that game. Yeah. But again, we'll kind of go back through it, hit the Chalk Talk, kind of recap it. We'll also do the PFF preview where we'll show you all the grades and where the matchups may or may not be in favor for the Packers. That makes sure. So let's see here. Daryl in the chat says, Clay has all the bells and whistles. LOL. Be sure to hit the like button. Appreciate you, Daryl. Yeah, if you guys would, take a quick second. I hate asking, but if you hit that like button, sub to the channel, it helps more than you know. You don't have to turn notifications on. You know what I mean? So you're not bothered. Just anytime you do that, it helps boost the algorithm. And it's weird. Some days I got people going, hey, man, I can't find your channel even when I search it. Other days I know we're on the forefront of people's pages because the numbers are just through the roof. So hopefully the ads are under control. I had a lot of people saying, man, you're getting hammered with ads on your channel. I go and check it out. YouTube automatically changed the settings. So now we had a bunch of ads playing when we weren't asking for them to. So we got that straightened out. Hopefully it's streamlined a little bit better. But yeah, that's what I said. Like, hey, appreciate y'all not letting me know, but that's YouTube's MO, man. It is what it is. So we'll probably
hold on to the ads like this picture right here, like Carl Brooks holding on to a football.
And for that YouTube comment, we probably just dropped in the algorithm again. That's the way it goes. All right, guys, we'll see y'all tonight. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Packers.
Thanks for watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Green Bay Packers content. Created for the fans by the fans. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you know whenever we go live. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Packers_access. Go Pack Go. Have a great day.